Dear students, I am Deiva Sena, Assistant Professor of English, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukkottai. In this PPT presentation, we are going to see the paper Indian Writing in English for 2nd MA. This paper is prescribed in the 3rd semester. In the paper Indian Writing in English, from the first unit, we are going to see the poem Geethanjali. This is one of the poems of Rabindranath Tagore. We are going to see the first 10 stanzas of this poem. Totally, Geethanjali has 103 songs in it. First of all, we should know the author information. Rabindranath Tagore, born in 1861, he was an Indian writer. We know very well about him because he wrote the national anthem for us. He was a philosopher, educationist, freedom fighter, journalist, novelist, and short story writer. His father Devendranath Tagore, called by people as Maharishi Devendranath Tagore. Tagore studied Upanishads and in London University, but not received a degree. Geeta means song, Anjali means offering. So, the meaning of the title Geethanjali means song offerings. Tagore has given much importance in his own mother tongue, Bengali language. He is a good translator, deeply influenced by Upanishads and Buddhism. S.P. Mukherjee says Tagore, like Dante, who inherited a rich and vast tradition where mythology, theology, and philosophy blended easily. A tradition that was in his blood. This is the quote of S.B. Mukherjee about Rabindranath Tagore. He was one of the representative between the British government and Indian government. While in the ruling of British domination in India, he was servicing as a bridge between the British and Indians. We know very well. At first, Tagore composed Geethanjali in 1909 to 1910 in his own mother tongue, Bengali. After that, he has translated this poems in 1911 and it is published in 1912 and it got received the Nobel Prize in 1913 for English literature. He established his school Santiniketan in 1901 in Bolpur. It is based on open curricula system. Later, in 1920, it was developed into a famous Vishwabharati University. His essay on Hindu marriage assumed great social significance like Geethanjali. Prayashchitta, Tagore's famous play, anticipated his masterpiece Geethanjali. He was an exponent of the Swadeshi movement. W.B. Yeats has given the introduction for this poem. Students, Geethanjali is published with the introduction of W.B. Yeats. W.B. Yeats is inspired by Tagore's writing, In 1914, he was knighted by England. He was a good representative between Indian and British. Tagore points out that a scientist can make known what he has learned by analysis and experiments, but an artist cannot express by merely informing and explaining. This is according to Tagore. Okay, according to him, scientist can prove his own innovation through experiment. Okay, but writers, an artist cannot express by merely informing and explaining. So this is one of the source to explain what we are thinking. So Tagore was greatly concerned with arts form. His poetry is the epitome of Indian culture. He was a poet of love. His lyrics are suffused with humanism. He has expressed highly suggestive, melodious, and expressive words from a rich treasure. Now we are come to the first stanza. This is, you can see the first stanza, the poetic form, the text of the poem, and we can now we can move on explanation. What is given in the first stanza? In this first stanza, Tagore pays his obedience to God in a spirit of humbleness. He required a humble manner when we are praying to God. So he never liked the sacred things, the typical dress, and the sacred things like we are using the sacred things on our foreheads, and we are using the some of the dress to follow the prayer. So this type of expressions is not accepted by Tagore according to him. So he followed infinitism. We know he says that soul is eternal and immortal. Such is the will of Almighty. Human body is like a weak vessel. A vessel can be emptied and filled. Man may come and man may go, but soul goes and forever. The body dies and the soul is reborn in a new shape. The body dies and the soul is reborn in a new shape. God is omnipresent. He's filling everywhere. So God is everywhere. He imagines himself as a flute made of reeds, and he is a skilled flute player who plays upon his flute and create sweet melodies, and reach hills and valleys. Under his divine inspiration, the poet forgets his physical limitation and merges with the infinite. So, through this poem, he wants to say, I want to change. He himself imagines like the reed of the tree, a reed, a type of grass, and the bamboo tree is compared with reed, strengthful reed. Okay, so we can use this flute, and we can play the flute by making the music. Okay, so through this melodious music we can reach them. The poet, he himself imagined he can reach the feet of the God by touching the melodious song. Okay, so this is the first stanza. Now we can come to the second stanza. You can read the text of the poem, and then shall we move on the explanation? Adoration means love of God. The bird is the individual soul, and its flight is the sail's journey to God. Okay, he harmoniously sings because he is divinely inspired. He harmoniously sings because he is divinely inspired. Okay, peace and harmony begin to inspire it. The poet knows God is pleased with his singing. God is pleased with his singing. So, the God inspired by the song of the poet. Okay, he knows that only as a singer he can realize him. The poet hopes to touch God's feet with the edge of the outspread wings of his bird-like soul. So, in this stanza, the poet wants to be born as a bird, and he wants to touch with the wings of the bird at the feet of the to the feet of the God. Okay, so now come to the third stanza. we can read, you can read the text of the poem, and shall we move on the explanation. God is omnipresent. Okay, so God is everywhere. We should believe him. Wherever we go, we should think God is there. God is watching us. So God is always watching us. What we are do, what we are think, he knows very well. So that is the message is given in this stanza 3. Okay, now the poet turns to join the divine music, but eh, but in want of a voice, he cannot give utterance to it. He wants to speak, but words fail him. Here in this stanza, he wants to say something about God to him, but he cannot express even a single word utterly. So the words are the words are coming out from his mind, but he cannot speak out towards God. So he was keeping the silent prayer. So here he suggests the silent prayer is one of the source to reach the God. So that means meditation, yoga, like that's severe penance like meditation. Okay, so this is prescribed by the poet in this stanza number 3. Now we are move on the 4th stanza. You can see the text of the poem. Life of my life, I shall ever try to keep my body pure, knowing that thy living touch is upon all my limbs. As a beautifully explained, shall ever try to keep all untruths out from my thoughts, knowing that thou art that truth which has kindled them light of reason in my mind. So you can read the text of the poem very clearly in this slide, and shall we move on the explanation. In this stanza, according to the poet Tagore, human body is the temple of living God. So God is living in our body. So we must believe God is with me. So tat vam asi. This is the quote of Visishta Advaitam. So according to Vedas, okay, Visishta Advaitam is saying God is living in you. God lives in you, in your body. So you are God. You are Shiva, Lord Shiva. So we ourselves think the God is living in my body. So that is the truth. God is truth. He illumined the dark recesses of poet's mind with the light of truth, wisdom, and knowledge. So God is living in the body of the human, and it expresses through truth, wisdom, and knowledge of the human. God is love. The poet will drive out all evil passions from his heart, and there the flower of love alone will forever bloom with all its freshness and sweetness. So when God is living in you, you will become a blossom flower. Okay, you will give fragrance everywhere. Okay, so this is the message is given by the poet here. And God is the source of his power. So God is the source of his power. He has endowed the poet with the talent to act. So it will be his endeavor to reveal his glory and greatness through his actions. Okay, now this is the 5th stanza, and you can read the text here. And I ask for a moment. This stanza is starting with I ask for a moment's indulgence to sit by thy side. So here so the first is the poet starts this stanza with a request towards God. So I want to sit behind you, left or right, left or right, whatever. So he likes to sit behind the God. So this is the first line starting the fifth stanza. Now shall we move on the fifth stanza, the explanation of the fifth stanza. The poet longs for union with the divine. So he wants to mix with the Almighty. Okay. So he begs for a moment's indulgence to sit by his side. His work is endless drudgery. So, the God's work is endless drudgery. You know very well, the God is the preserver, God is the protector, and God is the destroyer. You know, He is the protector, He is only the protector, He is only the destroyer, He is only the uh, protector, destroyer, and preserver. Okay, he can protect everything. So the poet's heart knows neither peace nor rest in the absence of the divine. So when he feels without the divineful force or the divineful spirit in his atmosphere, he feels emptiness in his surrounding. So this is the meaning of this of the line. And worldly activities seem to be an unending drudgery in the immense sea of toil. The summer has come, beautiful scenes are found everywhere. The bees sing sweetly in the grave of flowering trees. So, here the poet says, summer has come. Beautiful scenes are found everywhere. But bees are coming and taking honey from the flowers and sweetly singing and grows from the flowering trees. So, this is the season. Like us, at such a moment of universal peace and joy, the poet would sit face to face with God and would rapturously sing songs dedicating his life to him. So he wants to dedicate his own life towards God, okay, towards the Almighty. So toward the divineful spirit. So this is a request by the poet in this stanza number 5. So now we can see the text of the sixth stanza. This is it starts with the title, pluck this little flower and take it. Here the poet refers he himself to the flower. So he is the flower here and he requests to God and take me, and you can take it as your own property. So I am your property. Now I am a flower. I want to give beauty and fragrance to your feet அப்படிங்கிறது தான். So this is the meaning of the poem. Okay, now it may not find a place in thy garland. So garland, you know. Now come to the next stanza. The explanation of the sixth stanza. In this stanza, the poet humbly offers the flower of his life to God and requests him to accept it without any delay. You can take me without any delay. So he is requesting towards God, take me, take myself. His life is short like a flower, and very soon it will wither and droop into dust, and like the faded petal of the flower. So here the petals, this flower has only one day to live. So within this within this single day, it is blossoming and it is giving fragrance, and it is giving food to the bees by honey, and giving fragrance in the air, and is giving pleasure uh, to the birds, to the insects, and also to human. And after it is the petals of the flowers and falling down. So you know very well, the poet says with great humility that his flower like life is devoid of deep enchanting colors and sweet smell. Okay, a flower without deep colors and deep fragrance is not woven in the garlands for master's head. So which is the most sweetful, which flower has fragrance, which flower has brightful color, only can reach the feet of the god. So here the imagination of the poet like this. The poet meekly prays to him to pluck this worthless flower of offering before it too late. So the worthless flower, I don't want to live hereafter in this on this earthly life. I want to reach your feet very as soon as possible whenever you call me. So this is the meaning of the sixth stanza. Now come to the seventh stanza. This is the text of the poem. This stanza is starting the line of, my song has put off her adornments. My song has put off her adornments. So what is the explanation of the seventh stanza? Shall we go to see this? In this lyric, the poet longs for simplicity and discards pride and vanity, which create numerous obstacles in the way of the soil's union with the divine. So, understand, the poet compares his song dedicated to God's worship to a woman who shone of her ornaments and dress, the symbols of vanity and pride, hindering the complete identification with her lover, goes to meet him. Artificial and rhetorical expression drown his gentle whisper to man. Simplicity and humility are essential for communion with God. The poet is fit only to sit at his feet. He can fill the red flute of his life with divine music only when his life is simple, pure, and honest. So, what is explanation of the seventh stanza? God always expects the simplicity from the human. So we need not worry about the gorgeous look, ornamental prayer, ornaments to give, to offer the costly ornaments to God and costly dress to God and typical dress. So not like that. Always God expects the simplicity, but with dedicate mind, dedicating divinity. Okay, spiritual thought, a complete spiritual thought, it expecting from expecting by the God here. Okay, now come to the eighth stanza. This is the eighth stanza. And the child who is decked with prince robes and who has jeweled chains round his neck loses all pleasure in his play. So what is given in this text? The beautiful meaning is given here by the poet. The child who is decked with prince's robes and who has jeweled chains round his neck loses all pleasure in his play. So whenever a child is wearing all type of ornaments like gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, like, so that child is not given the freedom by his or her mother, because of if he go out the ornaments, someone will kidnap him, or the loss of ornaments. Okay, so there is they will meet some of the loss by missing their ornaments, golden ornaments. Okay, chains, rings like bracelet. So that here he advises to that the child's mother, the child who puts on costly dress and precious ornaments misses the pleasure of game. He cannot freely mix and play with the other children. So they miss, this type of children miss the freedom life, play with the other children. So everything lost here. His fine dress obstructs his free enjoyment of life because he fears that it may be frayed or soiled with dust by playing with poor and humble children. So only he is restricted by every freedom and every enjoyment and the pleasure. So this is a biggest obstacle to enjoy all the freedom in his life. So the poet kindly requests the mother, don't keep like this habit hereafter. So this is the ninth star. So that like that god never expect them costly ornaments, costly offerings, and some of them offerings like coins, money, and gold, diamonds, like. So he's expecting only a pure and pure purity, pure dedicating spiritual thoughts and spiritual prayer. Okay. And oh fool, to try to carry thyself upon thy own shoulderest, O beggar, to come to beg at thy own door. This is the starting line of the ninth stanza. Shall we move on the explanation? In this song, the poet requests to his readers that they should have full faith in divine wisdom, love, and charity. So, whenever we pray the God, we should have belief in God. So, that only give the path to reach the God's feet and God's prayer. Okay, bliss. Okay, so this is wisdom, love, and charity. Okay, God bears all our burdens and helps us all. We should entirely put ourselves in His hands and should have complete reliance and faith in Him. So that is very important. It's a faith in God. That is, we cannot make show. We are wearing sacred things on our forehead and wearing some of the typical dresses to pray the God as a coloring dresses, red, yellow, like this, silk. So like that. This is not accepting by God. He is expecting simplicity and peacefulness, and also complete mind. So the overwhelming thought of God is expecting by God. So that is only suggest here by the poet. One who has supreme faith in God need not feel any regret. That is one of the point here. One who has supreme faith, one who believes in God, they won't feel any regret in their life. They won't meet any problem in their life. That is the meaning here. Desires are wicked. Desires are wicked. So, like Buddha, here Tagore's also says here, desires are wicked. Buddha says, give up desires. Here, desires are wicked. So, directly, so totally upside downly, he said, desires are wicked. So, it is harmful to us, because when we desire on something, that is more, it may be not match with us, with our status, but we are having desire on this thing, but we cannot get that because we don't have like that economy, so we cannot reach that thing. So that they're only feeling alone. That's all. The hands of man who is consumed by desires are unholy, and hence he is not fit to receive divine charity. The hands of man who is consumed by desires are unholy, hence he is not fit to receive divine charity. So, one who keep desires in his own heart, he cannot reach the feet of the God. So, we must understand. So, when you give up your desire, you can reach the God easily. So, man should give up all unclean desires and should pray to get his love and charity. So, man should give up all unclean desires. So, unnecessarily we can't have any desires in our mind. Okay. If you think so I will study good, so that is a good desire, but so I will get a sack of gold coin, a sack of gold bars overnight. This is the bad desires. So, here, unclean desires, and should pray to get his love and charity. When you think always, God will give me, God definitely will give me anything to for my pleasure. Okay, so that is only the strongest belief, that is only give the pleasure in your life. You will be very happy. So that is requested by the poet here. Now we are in the end of the stanza in this poem, this unit, Geethanjali. We are going to we are watching from the first stanza to 10th stanza. We are having only 10 stanzas in this unit. So here we are in the 10th stanza. This is the text of the poem. The first text of the stanza. Here the first line is starting in the 10th stanza. Here is thy footstool, and there rest thy feet, where live the poorest and lowliest and lost. So the beautifully the poet starts this stanza. Shall we move on the explanation? The poet is a great humanist. He finds God amidst the poorest and lowliest and lost. Where is God? God is everywhere, but beyond that, here the poet says, God always with the poorest, with the lowliest, with the lost, with the poorest people. Okay, not with the richest people. So he is always request simplicity. Okay, then who avoid the poor and lost can never find God. So one who if one avoids the poor, they never meet a God's pleasure. Okay, God's bliss. That is the meaning here. He says that no words of prayer and worship can reach him if he has love for the suffering humanity. So, what he requests here, what Tagore requests here in this stanza, one who ready to help the poor. Okay, one who wants to clear the sufferings of the poor, then only they can reach the feet of the God. They can feel the bliss of the God. Love for the poorest and lowliest and lost is the greatest worship of God. You never go to temple, but when you think about the poor, you can. This is equal to worship God. So that is here. That is requested by the poet in this stanza. So you need not go to worship, go to temple for your prayer. You just help the poor. You can attain the bliss of the God. Okay, here the true worship of God is complete communion with the common humanity on terms of equality and brotherhood. Whenever you are following the equality with, if you are born in royal family, you just keep the poor as your brother. That only will pave the way to reach the God. That's all. We should try to find him out with the spirit of humility. We should try to find him here, God. Find out with a spirit of humility and not with pride and vanity, in the midst of the humble and the companionless. Whenever we forgot the poor, whenever we forgot the suffering of the poor, we never reach the feet of the God. This is requesting. This is the explanation is given by the poet Tagore. So beautifully he has given all his thoughts through the songs, 103 songs under the title of Geethanjali. So thanks for watching. Thank you.